Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you about why it is important to be yourself. Because the thing that I like about living my life is being myself. There's a certain point that after fighting so hard for the space to be myself, and then just seeing how even like the constriction is in my own body, like it's even my own body that goes against itself. And what that means is that my mind is not in control of my body. So if my mind is not in control of my body, what does that mean? What's in control of my body? Who's in control of my body? Um, and what is it that makes it unsafe for me to be myself? And when I look at that, the roots of it are so sinister that it scares me. It scares the shit out of me. Like, I'm so scared. But it's weird because I feel the fear in my human body, but when I really get in touch with my mind and I think about what I have in my mind isn't afraid. My mind is very nonchalant, but there's responses in my body that are unconscious. Still lit? Unconscious responses. And so this is one of the reasons why I teach stimming in my Reiki class, because stimming is from the autistic community and it means self-stimulation. Like, it's like whatever you do with your own body that gets you in your vortex and gets you on your square, and it's like just what's soothing for the person. So I just find the whole autism thing is very interesting, because, and neurodivergence, because I just find it to be very like binary and limiting, that you would think that some people are neurodivergent and autistic and some people aren't. Like, there's plenty of people that don't talk and like they do weird shit. So, but the labeling and the medicalization and everything of it, like, I'm not really with that shit. I'm not into that. And one of the things I've learned is that it's just really not safe for me to be in a situation with people who are, like, because we might not have mutual respect for one another's lifestyles and viewpoints. So that's why we're in a time now where people are like, there's like a separatist movement. There's different separatist movements, and there's like reasons why people want to be in their own communities with certain people, or exclude certain people and include certain people or whatever. So that's why I've been organizing a community for myself that's where I feel safe. But there's really no such thing as safety, because even as a community you're still being persecuted, and the idea of having sovereignty, there's still like, we still live in a slave state. Like, human trafficking is the biggest industry, and we're literally all slaves. If you think about it, there's very little room to move outside of the system. And when you really get technical about all the conspiracy theories and stuff, these conspiracy theories are all true if you do your research. And they're even like open, like a lot of them are openly admitted, but then on TV and media and stuff, there it's said the opposite. So people are brainwashed into thinking one thing. And this is the whole thing that I've been getting into, because like even with the food, like the certain chemicals and stuff in the food interacts with, like all these things interact with one another to like hide us from the true reality, the true nature of reality. So um because of that, it's like there's certain boxes that we're supposed to fit into, of like how we're supposed to be, like who we're supposed to be. And that's very limiting, because it doesn't really give us the opportunity to accept ourselves and explore ourselves. That's why I'm against school, because it's a indoctrination camp for like this society, which is like a rape death cult, child molestation rape death cult. And it's like, this is what I talk about all day every day, and it sort of hit close to home with me recently because I'm like exploring like a like potential serial killer, like possible situation that hits very close to home for me personally, and it sort of scares me because it really points to the importance of the company you keep and how much that is like a detriment to your life purpose when it comes to people with a huge calling on their life. Like, and it's like, if you don't have guidance from your parents and you don't have a really strong, stable family life, like, it doesn't really, like, it doesn't really make good sense for you to be out in the mix with too many people because, like, most people don't give a fuck and they'll look at other people's weaknesses and exploit them. And it's really important to be conscious of that because when it comes to the whole neurodivergence conversation, like, it's like there really isn't a lot of room for a lot of people to be who they are because you always have to be masking yourself to survive. Like, in different situations, you have to put on a different mask to be a different person, to be appealing to those people, and in order to even live through the situation, you have to navigate. You can't just be your weird ass self. And if anybody knows me, you guys know, like, I am not a regular person. So I've never been a regular person, and it sort of hit me when a conversation with my grandmother because she was like, we always, you were always different. I was just like, they always knew I was different. So I feel like that's why I got a little bit more leeway because people feel like because I'm Arab that I had a certain upbringing and a certain life, and that's not my life. And that's it, again, it's like that's another way that it's really important to be yourself, is because people will always try to like label you or think what they think that you are of whatever cliche or stereotype that they associate with you that is like not necessarily true. And it's annoying to, it's that this is one of the holographic reality quantum mechanics loops that has really fucked my mind up for like years because it's so really overwhelming to like, it's like basically it's like a fractal that's created, which is like, it looks like a sequin or like a piece of glitter or something, but it's like goes between two people, and it's like, it's the like basically the false reality that their false constructs create with one another. So this is how like this matrix is anchored in, is literally anchored in, is through these like chains. They're like literal like chains, like glitter chains. And there's just so many different ways that like, it's like there's ways that we're enslaved and bound to one another, and this it's like not always as sinister as it sounds, but it's just very like, it's just very same shit different year type of vibes, where because I'm like, this could have been literally like any time period in history, but I see how it's different for the overlay that we're experiencing it in now. So for me, like, me being myself has never been acceptable. That's never been considered a good thing. Never. Like, unless I was like achieving academically or like artistically. And then getting older, it was like achieving professionally was cool, but still, because my professions are unorthodox, that's still kind of iffy. And I'm honestly like I'm honestly, like I was saying, I'm like not a regular person, and I think that's one reason why majority of my audience gravitates towards me because it's like watching my journey. It's like a reality show. I like doing it, you know, and something that has always been a problem, what I noticed is that, like, people have always tried to restrict my speech. Like, people close to me, they had always tried to restrict my speech. And I'm very sensitive and I'm very affected by the people close to me. Like, I become part of the people that I'm close with. It's challenging for me to, like, separate myself energetically from people. Like, the psychic bond is very real. So I really need time alone, like a lot of time alone. Like, I need a lot of space. And this is where, like, certain therapies come in, like surrogate partnership or like surrogate parenting, for example, which is like basically it's like a conscious dynamic in which you're like role playing with somebody that's like, okay, like for example, a sugar daddy. Like, a sugar daddy is like an example of a surrogate parent, like, because they're giving you something that your parent didn't or couldn't. And so you get to go back and like repattern that you get to like repattern that trauma and pattern it towards positivity, because you're grown. You can negotiate for yourself, you know, like, you're not gonna get punished if you say what you want or if you set boundaries, because like it's like not a healthy situation if it's somebody that would like punish you for setting a boundary with them. And a healthy adult won't do that. And especially, like, I think, like, trauma bonding is dead. Trauma bonding is over. Trauma bonding season is over. That's just not what we do here. That's not what we're doing here. But it's like, oh my gosh, it's been so easy for people to do that with me. And even, you know, I've had to transform relationships of mine working together with the other person, because you can't just do it on your own. You know, it's like if somebody doesn't want to transform the relationship with you, that's their choice. Yes, like, this whole culture is so aggressive and opportunistic and just not respectful. And you gotta know, like, who you are and move accordingly. And don't let people try to tell you what you are and who you are. You tell them. Like, I tell you who I am. You don't know me, first of all. People think that they know everything, and that's so annoying. But at the same time, like, you can't fault people for speaking with confidence. You really can't. And especially, that's my whole thing when people like try to say that shit to me. Like, I'm like, okay, so I guess I'm just supposed to act timid and meek about everything that I say and think. That's how they want to see Arab women most of the time. And everybody loves to see a powerful bad bitch, but they really love to see if they can take her down a notch. That feels really good to a lot of people, which is funny. Like, I know, like, a lot of us, we don't really operate that way, so it's kind of weird. But it's a part of shielding your inner child, because you can't let just like everybody meet your inner child. You have to have a inner grown up that's your outer grown up bitch that comes to the forefront and like blocks these haters. Yay, butterfly. Yeah, you gotta block her back. Get her back in there, because everybody doesn't deserve to see her. Okay. So happy right now because this monarch caterpillar ate up my rue plant, and now I just seen a monarch butterfly flutter by, and I wonder if it's the same one. I feel like that butterfly right now. I'm not the same person that I was last night. I have a whole new sense of ease within myself. I'm just letting things happen instead of trying to lean on my own understanding and control everything all the time. And this is what's been the build up for the past 5 years, is going towards more feminine energy, letting things happen, like allowing things to happen instead of making them happen. That, don't even get me started, y'all, because that's a whole nother aspect of that conspiracy. Because for the divine feminine to be pushed into a servitude role of like having to work hard, is very much like is very much a psyops tool to weaken and diminish people's personal powers. But don't even get me started, because like, you really, energetics wise, like people's bodies work differently on an energetics level. So for example, me energetically, because I take in so much information, I literally have to film and talk and record and write a lot, because it's so many words inside here and I have to get them out, otherwise they fuck up my energetics. Not only that, but there's just so much different energy speaking through me. Like, I be speaking other people's thoughts straight to them. I tell people what they want to tell me, and they be like, but it just comes right out, because that's just what I am. That's just what I am. I'm a channel. I'm an oracle. This is what an oracle is. So for me, like, because I've highly developed my instrument, which is my body, so the price goes up and up. Because what I do to maintain this is my life's work. That's effort. So it's time for me to start doing a lot more different stuff that I want to do, because what I really realized in the past, what I've been doing in the past several years is not me at all. And it's crazy, because you would think that I've completely changed into a totally different person, but I'm really just in a very natural state that is so like comfortable, and it's like a state of allowing and being who I am, because I somewhat, okay, maybe I don't feel this way, because I was gonna say I somewhat feel, but I don't know, it doesn't sound right. My emotions. So this is what another part of the throat chakra healing in being yourself is, that you must communicate as you, and so that entails, like, honestly, there's just so much stuff that I was just so angry about, and I had like a shitty attitude. I since then changed my mind about a lot of things, and it's uncomfortable, because I'm seeing that the anger that I felt was actually just a cover-up for sadness and fear. And then feeling those feelings, I feel that there's like guilt and shame underneath that, and that is the root chakra healing. That's why, that's why I do ancestral healing, and why I call myself root chakra goddess, because this is getting to the root of everything, and it's what's held in the family line and what's held in the womb and the womb space, and even just the exploration of our bodies, like, so much that is natural that is taken away from us. Like, for example, examining your menstrual blood and using your menstrual blood, and this is considered witchcraft, to the point that it's like very taboo to even talk about it, and the society runs off of industries that like waste that and mess with the yoni and damage the body. we're like constantly encouraged to like rub chemicals on ourselves. Materialism is a substitute for personality. And I just feel deep grief because of how separate from nature I feel like we've gotten, to where like I know I was in a community, I was in a I went from being like um queer, lesbian, sex worker, like considering myself with all these labels, like being like active, like protesting for Palestinians, like extremely like just angry about certain things and wanting to um like make that known. And then I mean, I've had some serious betrayals in relationships that have really fucked me up. And what I learned, the reason why, was because I had no boundaries in the first place. And that was one reason why these energy vampire type people and straight up succubus and incubus type of people will seek me out, because they would be like, ooh, like they would see, like it's literally like a mosquito to a flame, like they'll see something to feed on, and it's like fresh meat, you know. But that doesn't mean stop being me. Like I'm still gonna be me, but it just means like put more protections around myself. And then what's the most important part about that is that who I am is protected, because if I'm being myself, then I'm in alignment. See what I say? It's a mosquito. If I'm in alignment, fuck you. I hate these fucking bloodsuckers out here. That's okay, because I got something for them. Citronella on that ass. You know, your energy is precious and it should be protected, and that is what you need to be who you are. Like literally, like it's so interesting, like to see these things come full circle. For example, like just group dynamics. Like, yes, this shit is so interesting. So it's interesting because what I was shifted for me is like I'm still who I am, but I'm getting more natural in who I am. And like now I'm a lot more interested I mean, I was in a lot of like the relationships I feel that I was in, a lot of them were toxic because I was toxic. I was toxic? No, not me. Like now that I've healed so much and changed a lot of my behaviors and choices, I can see that the healthier version of me is like very feminine, and like, you know, I didn't even know what it was to be feminine. All I knew was to be masculine because I was masculinized my entire life. And so even though this is like a generational curse that within families, where it's like, I mean, women in families in some of our lineages are so used to not having men around for so long, they like automatically take on these roles, and it's like there's not really room for anything else, even if the man is like eager to serve. And so it's really important to condition again, like, you know, this is why bitches need sugar daddies. Like, yes, sugar daddies to the front. Where you at? You know, and there's nothing wrong with needing multiple men, or like having multiple men, wanting to have like multiple people that are catering to you. You know, that's kind of important for some people, especially when you're lacking that in other areas of your life. And just being able to see where your social conditioning keeps you from being able to be who you are. That should never be the case. And one thing that I've realized with all my healing that I've done on myself is like, okay, reprogram, deprogram, reprogram, deprogram, reprogram, deprogram. Okay, now it's time to live, bitch, because you already done installed the software and now you gotta run it. You know, and what has had me a little fucked up is because like I felt like I needed to just go hard as fuck. And what I learned from that is that there's still basics that need to be tended to. And my whole drive towards going hard as fuck was literally just a way of proving something. And then even I feel like starting a Hose Our Healers brand and like providing these like, you know, community services to sex workers and stuff, I'm like, well, I really like needed community service for myself more so, and you know, I still need support. So there's such a like, it's just such a up and down like process. The Wheel of Fortune is a very unpredictable, um but there's also such a thing as like listening to your intuition and listening to yourself. You have to be connected, and there's so much other shit out here that's trying to plug in and get us to go here and there, and it'll try to have us like boot up with our very MK Ultra assassins. You have to be on your square, you have to be grounded, and you have to know what it is and how serious it is. Like it's like literally it's life or death, and then anybody could turn on you at any moment. Honestly, when you are who you are, it's actually dangerous. It's such a threat. I speak this from my position, like, and like I feel like it's like Arab women and Muslim women shouldn't have to tell y'all what type of threats we live under, but you also shouldn't take it as an opportunity to feel all good about yourself, like you're somehow different when you're still just fetishizing or whatever. I don't mind being looked at as an exotic princess, but I'm not here to fulfill anybody's fantasy. I need to be myself, and that's very important to me. And that's a message to myself, from myself also, is don't stop yourself from being yourself, and don't hide who you are from other parts of yourself, because every part of you is valid, and that different parts of you might come out in different relationships with different connections. There's different like personalities in here that I embrace all of. So it's just about letting yourself be yourself, and that entails like movement, that entails breath, that entails doing what you want to do. You got to do what you want to do. So that's the message. I hope everybody has a good day. And we could do like a little vagus nerve reset before we go on about our day. If you tilt your head to the side and look back towards your ear with your eyes, what that does is it resets one of your cranial nerves that's called the vagus nerve, and it runs all down through your stomach, so it releases anxiety. And you just want to hold it until like you yawn or something, or you feel like a shiver. And you do the same thing on the other side. Look back towards your ear. Alright then. Man. I went somewhere else for a second. I'm back now. Anyways, alright, you guys. I hope everybody has a good day and just be themselves and be easy with themselves. And remember, you don't have nobody to impress. Accept yourself. Love yourself. Don't judge yourself. Salama. Peace, healers. Salam.